Hello again. My name is Dr. Morse, and this is another part of leadership series. So today I'm going to talk about the quickest way to gain leadership, which is problem solving. Nobody can solve problem easily, but as a leader, you should know how to solve the problem. If you know that, that is one key element of being a leader, because there is always problem. Everyone has problem, and each individual has problem. Life is tough for individual, but when you gain leadership skills, you can solve problem easier than others. And sometimes on top of that, in a well-led organization, problems are solved at the lowest level possible. So sometimes the high level of leader, they don't be involved in a small problem. If the other people have leadership quality and they can solve the problem, then there is some problem that introduce us to ourselves. Sometimes when we want to know ourselves, problem introduce us to ourselves. Then we can start leadership journey. And our decisions are often impacted by our proximity to the problem. How you can see problem? Do you see problem as adventure? Do you see problem as dead end? Do you see problem as an obstacle you have to tackle? Or different, there is different view that you can see the problem. How you can see them, define that what kind of person you are. Then if you want to make one choice or you want to make multiple choice, doesn't matter. Your decision determine your leadership skills. And sometimes it impacted your life and its eternal effect. Sometimes your decision impacted your life for eternity. Supposedly, the conflict was resolved when the astronauts were asked to weigh in with their opinions. They all voted in favor of backup system. Not surprising, since they were the ones who would be stranded in space if something went wrong. So when some people are involved in a case, and I read this because of this. When you are in the middle of a problem, so you are affected by the problem yourself. You have to have the ability, you have to have right to share your opinion because it's your problem. Then as a leader, you have to allow the person, you have to create leadership within others that they can solve problem because it affected all of us. If there is a problem in organization, it affected all the organization. When we are in the middle of a problem, we are affected by the problem and we should brainstorm or something. We should raise opinion, everybody that can share the opinion and solve the problem. Our plate as leaders will always be filled with problem. Always there's problem. Individuals have problem. Imagine if you are leader of our organization, if you are leader of church, there would be problem all the time. Small or big, it doesn't matter. But if you know how to solve the problem, then your job is easy. Pragmatism serves us well as leaders. Although problems introduce us to ourselves, but pragmatism help us to be a leader. What do you mean by that? I mean that when you approach the problem, you have to have some solution for that. When you experiment with the problem solving, then your approach enable you to lead with the patience, persistence mindset. You have to be patient because your strategy and your strength and emotion are get together. Now, the emotion, confidence, the limitation, and strength all in the package. And believing there is always an answer is an answer. There is always an answer. Don't worry about the answer. If you have a problem, if you don't know, and you ask why, there is always an answer for that. And perhaps the most important problem solving skill that I have learned and practiced over the years is mental agility. You have to have a good mental health. You have to, sometimes you have to be quick decision maker. So your mental health should be in good state that you can be a good leader. Okay, so mental agility, how works for a leader? When you have it, you are able to move from one puzzle to another because it's like a puzzle. You move from one puzzle to another puzzle, and after make all the puzzle, it make all sense. But you have to complete all the puzzles. And then hold a piece of the puzzle in your mind for weeks with the belief that it will fit somewhere. Sometimes you cannot find. You have a piece of puzzle, but it doesn't fit anywhere. It doesn't make sense. It should be fit somewhere. But when you have mental agility, you have the patience to wait for that piece fit in the right place. And live with the tension of two opposing forces. There always conflict. There is always conflict. There is always opposition. In anything, any life situation, any organization, always there is a conflict. And our action can make our problem increase in number and size. So I thought I told you about making decision, and our decision can make our problem easy or can make our problem bigger, number and size. Some people want the number of church members increase, but with wrong decision, instead of increasing the number of members of the church, they increasing the problem in sizes and number. So it's very important to make good decision. In this manner, so sometimes we need to consider that because there is always problem, so how we can make that problem easier. Sometimes we have to take into a small pieces. We have a big problem ahead of us. So how we can solve that problem? We have to make that problem piece by piece. So sometimes when we have a puzzle, for example, in puzzle itself, when we buy a puzzle, what do we get? We get a big picture and a small pieces. We have to put pieces all together to make that picture, but we have big picture. Sometimes in real life, we have that big problem. We want to solve that problem. We have a vision of that big picture, and we want to go to that direction. We have to take it small pieces and then solve that problem, and then we go to another problem and another and another. What is the next step? What is the next step? You can ask, what can I do? What can I do? As a leader, you should have asked, what can I do? What can I do? And then what is next step? What is next step until you get to that destination and problem solved totally. So today, I hope you enjoy this because it's very important to consider all these things. Peace of God be with you all.